Hello! Today I'd like to walk you through the online self-assessment storyboard rubric that I developed for Module 4 of my online course, Practical Experience with Interactive Video. This is part of my coursework for EDT 672, Teaching and Learning Online at Marian University. According to the article, Enhancing Student Learning Through Assessment and Feedback from the Dublin Institute of Technology, allowing learners to review their own work is vital to the establishment of skills in self-awareness and critical reflection. The Google form I have created allows learners to critically evaluate the storyboard they completed for the interactive media lesson they are developing during this online course. Providing access to the online rubric at the outset of Module 4 and asking students to use it for analysis of their storyboard should, according to Northeastern University, encourage learning and enhance instruction by making expectations and criteria explicit while also facilitating instructor feedback and student self-assessment practices. During Module 4, learners will be given access to the online self-assessment rubric. This should serve as a guide for developing the storyboard for their interactive media lesson. Once the storyboard is finished, learners should complete the rubric by filling out the form. When the learners submit their self-assessment, a Google Doc will be generated by Form Publisher. This document will be added to the storyboard rubric folder within my Google Drive. As the instructor, I will then be able to view the document, open their storyboard from the link they provide, complete the rubric as the instructor, and share that specific document with members of the collaborative team. I can also use the Google Drive integration features of Edmodo to easily attach the completed document as a PDF to a note that can be sent directly to team members who can then add the completed rubric to their Edmodo backpack for future reference. Let's see how all of this works. Starting with the storyboard rubric itself. So obviously I have my title, the Interactive Media Storyboard Rubric. I have a project title for the group to put in whatever the title of their interactive media is. The production crew, which is the members of the team, a link to the completed storyboard, their email address, their partner's email address, and then we get into the rubric itself, starting with the concept. They have to rate themselves on the storyboard concept from 1 to 4. Continuity, again, they have to rate themselves on storyboard continuity from 1 to 4. Resources, again, there's a scale there for them to rate themselves on storyboard resources from 1 to 4. Effect details, roles, and timelines, again, with that list of options there. And tool selection, please rate yourself from 1 to 4 on the tool that you chose to use. And I'll talk a little bit more about those portions of the rubric in just a moment. And of course, there's a place to leave a comment as well. Now, what sets us apart from a typical Google form is that I've used the add-on Form Publisher to generate a template anytime someone submits this form. So if I take a look at the template, we'll see that between the carets should be the headers of the responses on my linked storyboard rubric spreadsheet in my Google Sheet. So here we see production crew, link to completed storyboard, etc., and we see things like project title, production crew, link to completed storyboard here within the template for the storyboard assignment. So what happens is whenever someone submits this form, this template automatically fills with that information. And then I can go in and I can go down to where it says instructor assessment and just add in my own piece. So let's go over to Edmodo and show you how I would assign this. So here I've created a new assignment. It says here Interactive Media Storyboard Self-Assessment, and I'm assigning this within my Practical Experience with Interactive Video testbed. I also have 3 other Edmodo groups set up here for anyone who wants to join the live class, and hopefully people will start signing up for that soon. At any rate, so I have the assignment here, Interactive Media Storyboard Self-Assessment. I've put a due date in of this evening at 11:45 p.m. I've locked the assignment after the due date, and I have added it to my gradebook. I've added a note here for members of the cohort to please complete the attached Interactive Media Storyboard Self-Assessment rubric, and Practical Experience with Interactive Video is who I've assigned it to. So I've assigned it to that entire class. I'm going to go back to the form for just a moment because I forgot to grab the link. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this out. And I'm going to go back to Edmodo, and I'm going to attach a link to that form here. It will automatically retrieve the title for me. I'm going to say attach, and if I were to send that out, it would now be assigned to the group. And like a good cooking show, I've already created that assignment a little further down. So here we see I had designed this a little earlier today as I was preparing to create the screencast. So there's the interactive media story rubric. As a student, I could go ahead and click on that, and let's go ahead and fill it out. I'm going to call our project here Purple Haze. I'm going to put in the production crew as James Gubbins and Corey Jeffers. And Corey, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. We've never met in person, and I don't think I've ever heard you speak. So, at any rate, I hope I've got your name correct there. I'm just going to use you as a sample. The link to the completed storyboard. I've already created a quick one here in bubble.us. I'm just going to copy that out and paste it into our self-assessment here. I'm going to put in my email address of jgubbins96@gmail.com, which I've created specifically for this course. And I'm also going to put in your email address here, Corey. I hope you don't mind, but I needed a partner for this, and you just happen to fit the bill. So I'm just going to put in your Marian University address here. There we go. And let's talk a little bit about the different pieces of the rubric itself. So first we have concept and a ranking of 1 to 4. 1 is actually the lower of the scores. So here we have storyboard shows little thought and is missing a number of elements. All the way up to storyboard demonstrates a clear vision of the anticipated outcome. Each element for the completed project is clearly defined. Well, I didn't spend a lot of time on our storyboard there because it was just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and give us a 2, saying storyboard demonstrates some thought for the final product. There are not enough elements to demonstrate clear vision. Continuity. This is really what storyboarding is all about. It's laying out the project so you have an idea of what that final product is going to look like. So again, we start with the lowest ranking. 1, elements of the storyboard are disjointed and will be difficult to follow once production on the project begins. All the way up to 4, where elements of the storyboard are closely connected and extremely detailed. The storyboard provides step-by-step guidance for the collaborative production of the interactive media. While I didn't spend a lot of time on the storyboard, I'm going to go ahead and give us a 3. Elements of the storyboard are connected and will serve as a guide to the collaborative production of the interactive media. Now scroll down just a little bit and we'll go to resources. Again, we start with the lowest rank where resources required for the production are not listed, all the way up to 4, which is where the resources required for the production are listed, connected to storyboard elements, and linked to where they are located, either on the web or through Google Drive, Dropbox, or other storage online. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'll say resources required for the production are listed but are not connected to elements on the storyboard. Scroll down a little bit further, we see effect details, roles, and timelines. Of course, these are important pieces if you're putting together a movie. You want to know what kind of pan and zoom effects you're going to have, who's going to be playing what roles, and how long each clip should take. Again, this starts with the lowest score of a storyboard does not denote any of the following: effects details, which roles will be necessary, or timelines for the scenes in the interactive media, all the way up to 4, where the storyboard denotes all 3 of those. I'm going to go ahead and say we handled 1. We covered 1 of them. I think effect details are fairly well covered in our storyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and give us a 2. And finally, tool selection. Did the tool that you chose to create your storyboard match what you were trying to achieve? A linear versus a non-linear type of structure. As we can see, 1, tool selection did not work well for the approach taken, linear versus nonlinear, all the way up to 4. Tool selection matched the approach taken, linear versus nonlinear. Use 5 or more of the available features to enhance the layout. I'm going to say we used 2 or less of those available features and give us a 2. And I'm going to add a comment here and say, obviously, this is for demonstration purposes. A real storyboard would be more detailed. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Submit. Now, in just a moment, in my inbox, I should receive an email saying that someone recently submitted this form and that it has been added to my folder within my drive. And hopefully this will just take a moment to load. We all know it takes a moment or two sometimes for email to come in. There it is. So form publisher is informing me that someone has actually submitted the form. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And what it should do is now bring up that template, except now it's been filled in. So I can go ahead and grab the link to that storyboard right on the document. I can copy it as the instructor, and I can then paste it and see that storyboard before me, so I can get a look and feel of what they've created. And then I can go in and start my own assessment. I can see that this team gave themselves a 2. I am going to say that they underestimated themselves and really should have had a 3 there. I will agree that on continuity they should have a 3. Scroll down a little bit further. On resources, I think they did a better job of connecting the elements, so I'm going to give them a 3. And then let's see, roles, effects, details. Yes, I agree that's a 2. Scroll down a little bit further, and on the tool selection, I'll agree with their assessment here. And I'm going to say I can see that as the instructor comments. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the top. And what I can actually do is a couple of things. First of all, I can take the email address of the individuals who submitted the form, and I can then share it with them, giving them view-only rights. And I want to go ahead and make sure I set this correctly. And here are my notes. I can send a little email to the people who have submitted, and then I can go ahead and click on send. Now I could obviously go ahead and copy out your email as well here, Corey, but I haven't completed my walkthrough, and I don't want to send you a copy of this and have you thinking, what on earth is James Gubbins doing? So I'm not going to send that to you, but obviously I could add you into the shared link as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and create a PDF of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on print, and I'm going to save it as a PDF. And I'm going to call it Purple Haze Google Docs. And I'm going to replace the one that I've already saved. And I'm going to go back over to Edmodo. And now I can actually, as the instructor, go ahead and click on this Turned In button. And now I can see the people who have actually completed the assignment. And I see that James Gubbins has. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that individual. And I am going to give them a score. And now I could obviously change this and add up whatever the total was on that rubric. I wasn't paying very close attention. It was, I believe, a 20-point scale. So I'm going to change this to 20. And it was fairly low. So I'm going to give us a 12. I'm just going to estimate that's what the total added up to there. And I'm going to say, great job on your rubric. And I'm going to go ahead then and attach a file. I'm going to attach that PDF that I just downloaded. And then once that is uploaded to the site, I can go ahead and click on grade and add that comment to it. And now that student can go back and actually add that to their backpack so that they can use that for future reference. They will have access to that PDF at any time that they want to go back and look at it or add it to their portfolio. So that is the storyboard, interactive media storyboard rubric, kind of in a nutshell. And hopefully that will help me to assess student work during Module 4 of my online course. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my review of this particular assessment.